Okay, Councillor Nick Sanford, thank you very much for your time today. It's, well, we're asking you quite simply, we've got these ward boundaries and a consultation taking place. What exactly does it mean?
Well, what happens is that there's a government agency called the Boundary Commission that keeps an eye on the wards in local authorities and intervenes and carries out a review when the size of the wards get to be disproportionate. And what's happened in Peterborough is that there's been some parts of Peterborough, particularly down to the south, where there's been major growth in population and with further growth planned. And so what the Commission has decided to do is carry out a review of all the ward boundaries to try and ensure that, where possible, each councillor represents approximately the same number of people.
And at the moment, the consultation is on, as they say. Now, obviously, Peterborough City Council would have put forward some of their suggestions, but have the Peterborough Liberal Democrats, have they put forward their suggestions?
Yes, there was an initial period when the Boundary Commission said, to anybody who put forward ideas as to how you want the boundaries changing, and Peterborough City Council put forward a submission, but Peterborough Liberal Democrats were the only one of the council groups to put forward their own submission.
So Labour didn't?
No, that was very surprising actually. Labour didn't and the Conservatives didn't. I suppose you could have expected maybe that the council submission was very dominated by the Conservatives anyway. But
what about the Independent Forum?
No, nothing from the...
And dare I ask, what about UKIP? Did they not put forward any boundary changes?
I don't think so. No, well, no, certainly there were only two submissions from the council, from the council as a whole, i.e. Conservatives and also the Liberal Democrats had our own submission.
And I mean, to be fair, I suppose some people still aren't aware of, where their ward boundaries are. Now, obviously, we know from the work that we do in the wards that we represent, we make sure that people are aware by doing regular focus, holding ward surgeries and making sure we work all year round and not just at election times. However, there may be some people who sadly are not represented by a Liberal Democrat councillor, and I guess they might not be aware, as I say, where their ward boundary starts or ends. So at the moment, if people have got any queries or questions, what should they do? Should they just contact the City Council or perhaps their ward councillors?
Well, they can contact the City Council, but I think on this particular issue, contacting the local councillor would also be appropriate. There's a working group representing all the parties on the council that's looking at drawing up a council's submission. But at the end of the day, individual councils or council groups or even groups of local people can put submissions in. We're currently at the stage where the Boundary Commission has looked at all the initial submissions and they've come up with what their recommended proposal is, and they're now putting that out for public consultation. Okay,
let's get to some hard-hitting questions. And the first one is, have you got any concerns about this consultation?
Well, I've certainly got some concerns about the proposals the Boundary Commission has put forward, because what they've done is they've taken a very arithmetical approach. They're basically going for all three member wards, and they're trying to ensure that the population of all of them are approximately equal. But what that's meant is some rather odd situations where wards don't particularly reflect community identity. There's some wards are proposed to go across natural boundaries like the river and the East Coast and Main line. So I think that's something in the consultation I imagine a lot of people will have something to say about.
And when will this come into effect?
Well, the consultation runs till the beginning of October, and then the Boundary Commission will draw up their final proposals, which they're going to publish in January 2015. And there's then a parliamentary procedure after that, so it'll be the elections in 2016 when the new boundaries come into force, whatever they may be, and we will then have an election for the entire council.
Well, simple as that, people. If you've got a query or question about what the Boundary Commission are putting forward, and if you've got your own thoughts or opinions, then quite simply get in contact with your own local councillors.